Hey guys, Dan here,
And Frank.
and we are the Mazer Squad podcast. I believe this is our 7th episode, so we've been doing this
Seven.
for, what is that, about 3.5 months we've been doing this?
Yeah, we had a little break.
Little break here and there, some technical difficulties, but we're back, and we're going to be covering a lot of news because we've missed Ultraman Day, we're right in the middle of Comic-Con, there's a bunch of toy release news, a bunch of comic book news, and some media news. And
tons.
our main event, we're covering Space Amoeba, as you can see by this awesome vinyl over here. Check out the video where I unbox it. It's awesome. But anyway, back to the podcast. And we're going to be starting off with the some Apple TV news for people that are upset about having to subscribe to Apple TV. But it sounds like it's going to be really good. Well, you know more about this than I do, so why don't you take it away with this?
So they're currently filming Monarch right now, but the big news yesterday that was all over the internet was it's going to involve Kurt and Wyatt Russell. It's believed that they're both playing the same character. Wyatt's going to be a younger version of Kurt. The character is rumored to be Shaw from the Godzilla Awakening graphic novel. It's the prequel novel to the 2014 movie. I haven't read it since the movie came out. I just skimmed through it now. So we're talking 2014. This thing came out, so it would be all new to me anyway if I read it again. I skimmed through it. I did find the character Shaw, so he's in there. He's got some involvement with Serizawa, and it looks like we're going to be getting flashbacks, obviously, if we're going to have a younger version and an older version. So I'm hoping to see some returning characters. Maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe we'll see John Goodman's character back or something. Or
I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely possible to get that. Maybe they'll play. I know that the Apple TV productions seem very high budget.
They look.
So
I haven't seen anything. I don't have it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I've just seen commercials for shows, and they all look like they're super high budget.
Yeah.
So I think they could get like a Sam Jackson or a Brie Larson or something to maybe reprise a role.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a possibility. One thing that I think you would know a little bit better than I would was when I originally heard about this series, I thought it was going to be like the kaiju version of X-Files. And do you think that Shaw character, I know it's been a while since you read it, lends to that, or is it going to be more of like an action-y type of deal?
Well, I just skimmed through it right before we started this, and he looked like he was just like a military guy on a ship, working with Serizawa. I think, like I said, I don't really remember the book, but I'm thinking this is how he got involved with Monarch. So we'll probably see some of that backstory, a little more origin there. There has been some leaked set photos, nothing crazy. The usual MonsterVerse set leaks. It's guys wearing soldier gear and some Humvees. There's nothing glamorous to see. I think the most glamorous set leaks we got were the Skull Island ones, when we got to see the big Kong skulls and everything. But other than that, all the MonsterVerse leaks that there have been for set photos have just been people in military gear or vehicles or something.
Yeah, and it's like, ooh, I see a Monarch logo.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, we already know the show's called Monarch.
Yeah,
yeah. So pretty exciting news. I'm hoping that this TV show does well, and maybe it'll lead into something with the rumored Godzilla vs. Kong sequel / Kong movie, Son of Kong, whatever it is going to be. Maybe we'll get Kurt Russell in that in a concurrent day role or something.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
I'm excited. I mean, we got the Kong animes finally happening on Netflix. We got this. I mean, I just think it's a little weird. The media is all over the place. You're talking, we got Netflix, now we got Apple TV.
Yeah.
We're bouncing all over the place.
I guess they're trying to find their audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think it would be just on HBO Max because it's Warner Brothers property, but
exactly, Warner Brothers Legendary.
Maybe Warner Brothers doesn't have any interest in producing this type of content. And they just want to do the movies.
Yeah.
So they don't really have, like Marvel did with Netflix for the TV shows. Yeah. They're just like, we don't really care too much about this at this point. So you guys can just do what you want as long as we get a little bit of cut.
I mean, what we do know is that the current plot that they have out there now is that it's going to be following a family in San Francisco after the events of Godzilla 2014. So we're going to have, I think, post-2014 and pre-2014 things going on in here. So, I mean, that's all we really know about it so far. And we got some good casting, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah. And in other media news, I know it's not on the notes, but I'm going to skip to it anyway.
Yeah.
A couple more Ultraman releases have been announced, and that makes 6 that have been announced. We haven't seen any art for, and they haven't been released yet. So we're adding Next, which is going to include the Nexus movie, and Neos, I believe. Was that the one that they announced?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's Cosmos, Neos, Next, Children, Zerth, and I can't remember what the 6th one was, but there is a 6th one.
Was it Max? We have Max already?
It might be Max. But one thing that I follow a guy who just does media release reviews in general, and one thing that he said in his video was that these were all the releases till the end of the year, and that he wasn't sure if there was going to be any more Ultraman releases from Mill Creek after this. So I don't know.
Which I find a little alarming. I really hope that's not true, because there's still a lot left. You get this whole Mill Creek collection to not be complete. I would be extremely disappointed if they stopped putting things out.
Yeah, I mean, not only because we have current seasons that Trigger just finished airing, and they're airing Decker right now, but there's still a few more newer seasons. I think R&B is the latest one that we have.
RB, yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's like 4 more new seasons that we haven't gotten.
And then there's plenty in between that we still haven't got. There's plenty.
Yeah. And, I always thought that, maybe they're skipping stuff because there's whispers of a Blu-ray release and they want to get the HD versions of that before they release a DVD version. And we also have those 2 Australia shows that they're already Blu-ray releases of, but just not for our region. And they're very expensive to import. So I thought that we would at least get those. So hopefully it's just he got some bad info or he was a little misinformed.
Yeah.
But it sounds like that's going to be the releases for the rest of the year, at least. I had recently looked up the Zerth posting again, and now it's having a September release date.
All right. Yeah, I was just going to say, because weren't they supposed to be out this week? I didn't get a good chance to look too much into the media releases. I've been a little backed up. But, yeah, because I was like, weren't they supposed to be out like this week? I just realized that we're talking about them.
Yeah. I think maybe we'll get to see what they look like soon, because from what I've been seeing, it looks like he said that he's going to be getting them all soon. He's like, I don't know when they're going to be delivered, but they should be delivered soon. So it's like he's going to get all 6, and the winner of the Twitter raffles that Mill Creek was doing was also getting all 6 mailed to them. So it sounds like these may have like a small run or something like that already produced, and maybe they're ramping up or the supply issues or something. But yeah, I mean, that looks like it's the lineup for the rest of the year. So we won't be having Ultraman release news every single podcast like we have been having for the last 3 months.
But we'll have some definitive dates.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some definitive dates coming up.
Yeah.
And the next release news is the Kong 1976 4K edition.
I know. We just got the Blu-ray last year.
Yeah. Now, this is a posting for a European release.
I believe it was France.
Yeah, France release. One thing to note about the 4K format is it is 100% region free. Unlike Blu-rays or DVDs, there's no region coding at all for 4Ks. So it will be super import friendly. That being said, I'm not the biggest fan of the movie. Shout Factory did a pretty good job releasing this one. Unless there's something crazy in this release, I do not know if I'll be upgrading to the 4K.
That damn steelbook is gonna be something for me.
Yeah. It's I thought
It's
that,
like
yeah, I thought,
it's one of those like, do I need it? I don't need it. I have the DVD and the Blu-ray right here next
yeah.
to each other.
I mean, you're talking to the guy that owns 3 copies of Kong vs. Godzilla because I had to get the FYE Steelbook edition. I just had to.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I have the DVD, the Blu-ray, and the Steelbook Blu-ray.
Don't forget about the 2 Blu-rays that
FYE
came with the
editions.
Criterion collection.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I have like 4 copies
Yeah,
of it.
quadruple dipped into that one. And I've yeah, but yeah, we'll see. If they have something crazy like it's gonna have what was that sequel? If they has like Kong Lives on Blu-ray quality or something.
Well, that did just hit streaming actually. Kong Lives just hit streaming last week, I believe.
Oh, really?
So there's potential for that to be coming out on something also. They have I have a DVD of it.
Yeah, I know it's on DVD. It's pretty readily available on DVD. I've heard it's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And I've heard that I mean, just because it's on streaming, it might not be an HD release. I was actually doing just some notes for future programming. I was doing a video on my X from Outer Space Blu-ray that I imported, and the only US release that's like official is the Criterion Collection one.
Oh, I didn't even know that
There's a DVD version on Criterion, and it's very bad quality, very bad quality, and it's on HBO Max. So one thing I'm going to be showing in that video is the comparison shots between the HBO Max version and this imported version, and it's night and day. It is it's amazing how different these 2 qualities are. So it's definitely worth the import, but because this movie's on streaming doesn't mean it's going to be a good quality one. I might have to watch it, unfortunately.
I honestly don't know if I've ever watched it. I can't remember it, so it would be new to me honestly if I watched it again.
Yeah, I don't get the 1970s version. I've watched it maybe 2 or 3 times.
And it's a long movie.
Yeah, it's long. It's a slog. But I'm always like, gotta give it a shot. I haven't watched the 3-hour TV cut yet, like the really long cut.
Yeah.
I might try that one day to see if that adds anything to the movie.
You gotta watch the Snyder cut.
Hey, at least the Snyder cut might be really dark, but it won't have some really weird pervy scenes in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not cause any controversy.
Is that it for the media? I think that's it for media releases.
I mean, if we want to talk about some, it's pretty old news, but it came out. Wasn't at G-Fest? It was before G-Fest. The news that we got from Shout Factory regarding more Super Sentai. They can be doing Bioman.
Oh yes. So
I believe they're doing Bioman. Is it Bioman? Yep. And they're doing
Kamen Rider.
I forget the name of the series, but I think it's the series that they used for the American release of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, which was really good. It would be really nice if Shout Factory was able to re-release Kamen Rider Dragon Knight on DVD as well, because those are out of print and very expensive. And that series did a lot better than whatever it was based off of, because they just did a really good job with it, and they actually re-released it in Japan as Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, so it got a Japanese dub.
Oh wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
I'm excited to see if it's the series I think it is. It involves like a bunch of different Kamen Riders, and they're all like in a tournament to try to like defeat each other.
Oh.
So you get like a lot of cool like Kamen Rider fights. If it's the series I'm thinking of, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, I Kamen Rider is a series that's like on the list. I just haven't dove into it. There's just so much of that. All these series. Ultraman's been going on forever. Super Sentai's been going on forever. It's like so hard to keep up with all these series. I'm trying to do the Ultraman. I'm on the last 4 episodes of Zone Fighter.
Oh wow.
It's been pretty good. It's
I've been having problems keeping up with. I've been trying to get into Ultraman, the old stuff, and the Ultra Q. I just can't find time to watch it. I don't get lunch breaks at work half the time, so it's not like that's an option. I've been keeping up with Decker though. Two
right.
episodes in so far. Love the show. Thinking about maybe doing mini reviews for it on this channel. I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but it's really good.
Yeah, no, I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I'm like, I want to try to catch up to it, but it's like one of those things where I'm just never gonna catch up. I feel
Yeah,
like so. I'm like, do I start watching the new stuff and the old stuff at the same time, and like try to slowly
I
close the gap? I don't know if I ever can because there's just so much.
I don't know
I
what
mean,
they're gonna
it's like
have.
50 episode seasons.
I don't know what they're gonna have in this series as far as callbacks to original ones.
Yeah.
This series supposedly takes, I think, 7 years after the previous season. And just a short spoiler for the first episode, Earth gets invaded. It's the first invasion. There's been no kaiju or no alien attacks for 7 years. There's no Ultraman around, nothing. Aliens invade, new Ultraman is born, but fails. And the Earth gets completely encased in a bubble and is locked off from the rest of space.
Oh.
So it's they spend the second episode is 1 year after,
Wow.
and the Ultraman on Earth has been nothing but training in trying to get into Guts because they've restarted Guts Select,
All right.
and it's really, the story's amazing. And that might sound a little spoilery, this stuff I said, but that's nothing compared to the stuff that's in the show. It's really good. Give it a shot if you have the time.
Yeah,
Even if it's just like, I'm going to the bathroom, I'm going to watch 5 minutes at a time or something like that. Because there's a lot of commercials on the Super channel.
all right.
So it's pretty well broken up. I'd say like probably a third of that runtime on that video is probably ads.
Really? All right.
Yeah, and it's all like embedded into the video, so you just have to fast forward a little bit.
Really? Oh, all right.
Yeah, because all Super Riot products that they're advertising.
All right, that's pretty. I haven't watched any of them. I watched a few random videos on the channel, but I'm always like, I don't want to spoil it for myself. But
Yeah,
I'm thinking I might need to start digging into the newer stuff because
yeah.
I'm never gonna catch up. As much as I want to, it's just
It's too much. It's too much. It's going to
It's
take
just-
years.
It's an endless library.
It is going to take you years to catch up.
I mean, it took me for Return of Ultraman. It's probably the fastest series I've watched, honestly, for Ultraman. But yeah, it's a great series. Zone Fighter, I've chugged through Zone Fighter. Compared to Ultraman, I think the stories in Zone Fighter are kind of weak. The fight scenes are good, but the stories are just. I feel like they're weak and repetitive.
Yeah,
It had so much potential, and the Godzilla episodes are always epic. Though those are like,
I think
it's so
that
cool
was
seeing,
the audience grab right there.
yeah, because it's so cool seeing Godzilla fight these other monsters you've never seen before, and the monster designs on the show are like extremely over the top too. Like they don't have any like every monster is like super extra. Like they're like the gaudiest looking monsters. And I'm always like, oh, how do they come up with these designs? But they still managed to be cool. The last episode I watched was the one with the golem they called it, and they took they kidnapped a bunch of kids, the Garogas, and they used it to power the monster. It was a cool design. I'll give them that. But I think it was one of the more basic designs, and sometimes basic is the way to go for these monster designs.
Sorry about that. That just reminds me a lot of the Heisei designs, and the fact that it's something that they start off with these crazy concepts, and you saw like they slowly got whittled down to like what we got in the movies.
Yeah.
Like Destroyer was supposed to be so much crazier. Biolante was supposed to look completely different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the crazy designs. They're cool. They worked for the show, but sometimes I'm like, this thing just has way too many spikes and different things on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like they're like, we're just gonna just. They look like they had. They who knows? They might have. It looks like some of them were designed by children, which
Yeah,
is
they
not a
might
bad
have.
thing.
I know the way
They
that
did that
they
with
used
the
to do.
Jaguar.
Yeah.
So.
One of the things that this actually probably would have been a perfect transition into Space Amoeba, because the original concept for Space Amoeba was supposed to be like not this germ. It was supposed to be like these giant space kaiju coming in and tearing up the planet and a huge like planetary scale thing. And then we got what we got, which we'll cover in the review. But it's Toho always starts with these crazy off the wall ideas, and you're like, I think I would have enjoyed that more. Like, I feel like half the time, the cool stuff gets cut before it even starts production.
Don't make it, or they
don't
make it.
Yeah, or they don't make it.
They're like, we're not gonna make that movie.
No, it won't sell. It won't sell.
Yeah.
Everything they only do is make Godzilla content. It will sell. I know Toho is so much bigger than Godzilla, but like
it is.
Whenever they do it, there's such a big fan base. But whenever they go to do it, they're like, "Oh, the budget's not going to be very good because it's not going to sell." They always say, "Oh, it's not going to sell tickets. It's not going to sell tickets. We're not going to do it."
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Let's get back on track.
Yeah, back on track. Big tangent.
Yeah, it was a big one, but it was fun.
Yeah.
We got a lot of comic stuff going on. Tons of comic stuff. Since we're talking about Ultraman, I'm going to skip around on our little notes.
Yes, definitely.
We have The Mystery of Ultraseven is the third series in the Marvel Ultraman series. The first issue is dropping August 17th. And during the whole Ultraman Day event, Marvel also announced a Ultraman crossover series. It's going to be a mini-series, which I find kind of weird because all these story arcs connecting to Trials of Ultraman and The Mystery of Ultraseven, they're all kind of miniseries. I've been saying this lately. Everyone does 5-issue series now. So to me, they're all miniseries, but this Ultraman series, it's more like each series is an arc. So this Marvel crossover is going to be crossing over with superheroes. We got the art. It shows us it's going to have Taro is going to be in it, Seven, and then, of course, our OG Ultraman. And the art shows Spider-Man, Iron Man, and I believe Captain Marvel is also in it as well.
All right, that's pretty cool.
I haven't seen the art.
I'm actually kind of interested.
It was really sick art.
I'm pretty interested with Captain Marvel being there since like she's a space defender and they're a space defender.
I'm pretty sure she was in the art. I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, I can't remember. I remember Spider-Man just because I was like,
I know
man.
Spider-Man and Iron Man were in it for sure. I could have sworn I saw Captain Marvel.
Is there a 2% chance that we'll get Leoparded?
That's my
or some type of Japanese Spider-Man reference. Just 2% chance.
I want that return. I want that comeback so bad.
Yeah, that would be. I don't think it's ever gonna happen, but that would be awesome if it did.
Maybe they'll try to make like a callback to it because to give Spider-Man a little edge. Maybe Tony Stark will make something similar to it.
Maybe
we'll see.
Maybe that would be pretty cool if they got like a giant Iron Man suit that looked like Leopardon or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been out of the mainstream, I would call mainstream comics like Marvel superheroes, DC superheroes for a couple of years, and I've just been doing the Godzilla stuff, all the kaiju comics. But so it'd be interesting to see some superheroes again. I haven't read in a while with superheroes.
Yeah, I think it's been probably like since like the Christian Bale days that I've picked up a mainstream comic book.
Yeah, I was doing the digital for a while. I was reading everything, but now I'm back to physical.
Yeah.
So that's it for the Ultraman comic book news. So remember, August 17th is the first issue of The Mystery of Ultraseven. So I'm excited for that one. Been waiting a long time for it. I believe it was supposed to come out back in, I feel like March or April, and all the comics are a mess right now. They're all getting delayed, which brings me to my next one. Godzilla Rivals. I actually reached out to the artist for the variant cover for Godzilla Rivals vs. Gigan, which was supposed to be out last month. I never got mine. And if you check all the comic websites, it's sort of in this limbo zone right now. It's saying it's still pre-order, Other sites are saying it's sold out. I don't see a picture of anybody with a physical copy on Twitter. I never got it. I reached out to the artist this morning, Christian Gonzalez. Christian?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and he was the artist for the variant cover, which is a badass cover. And I asked him, I'm like, what happened with the comic? Did it come out? And he kind of was like, I don't know. He's like, I sent them my proofs for the cover and had no communication since. So I don't know what's going on with this comic. So Godzilla Rivals Batra is supposed to be out August 3rd, which is just right around the corner, and we still don't have the previous one. Now, from what I pre-order my comics, they're telling me August 3rd, Godzilla Rivals vs. Gigan is coming out, and not Batra. But everyone else is saying Batra is coming out that day. So who knows what's coming out August 3rd? And another odd thing about the Godzilla Rivals vs. Gigan, in January next year, we're getting the trade paperback to put all the Godzilla Rival comics together.
Yeah, I saw that round one.
They're calling it round one, so that makes me think we're going to be getting more one-shots, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because these have been, in my opinion, the best Godzilla comics since Rulers of Earth. All these one-shots have had great stories. Nothing against what was that last one that they did? Gods, Monsters, and King, whatever the last one was. I forgot.
Yeah, it was the IDW.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
that one I thought was very okay. I liked the story. There wasn't enough Godzilla for me in it. Honestly, it felt like it was targeted towards a younger audience. I didn't mind it. I liked it. I didn't hate it. But to me, Rulers of Earth is always going to be the pinnacle, and these one-shots have been so awesome to read. But like I was saying, this trade paperback's coming out in January. It mentions Hedorah, which was the first one. Mothra was the second one. King Ghidorah was the third one. Then Batra, which is supposed to be the fifth one. Gigan, nowhere on that roster for that. So I don't know what's going on with that comic. It's the 50th anniversary of his movie. So it's kind of disappointing if there's some sort of weird licensing hold up for it, because it's a big year for the guy. Guy can't catch a break. Guy can never catch a break.
I feel like even Toho, like, they put out some merch, but like,
yeah, there's tons of merch.
They didn't do anything else. I wanted to get one of those plushies, but it got a little expensive.
Yeah, it's very odd, and who knows? Like I said, there's like all these comics have been delayed, but I find it pretty strange that it's not included in that one in the trade paperback for some reason. Yeah, like I said, it could be something with licensing. Who knows?
The only thing I can think of, which isn't a good reason because people have already plunked money down, and people are, I'm sure, local shops already put orders in, and people's money's tied up in this. Is if they decided, okay, well, we're going to do a round one and we're going to start doing extra issues, is there any chance that they were like, we put a lot of the heavy hitters into round one and we want to save it for round two? I mean, they still have a lot of the Heisei stuff available for round two. I think Destroya is a big one. I think they could do one with Mechagodzilla or Kiryu. Would be really big. And I love Monster X, so...
Yeah, and you know what? Rulers of Earth went across everything. They had the Space Amoeba monsters in there. They had the Gargantuas in there. If IDW should, I don't know how it works, in my mind, compared to if you're comparing IDW's Rulers of Earth to these one-shots, hopefully they should be able to get other random monsters too. It would be cool. We want to see them fight other monsters. We like Godzilla vs. Power Rangers that came out this week. We got issue number 4 this week, and issue number 5 is dropping August 27th. So I haven't got my issue number 4 yet, but the 3 variants, 3 variants shipped out so far. So yeah, those should be coming.
I didn't totally forget to order those and trying to do that right now.
Well, Well, I set up on Graham Cracker's Comics. They have the option. Since I'm getting all the covers, they have the option to say subscribe to all variants. So I just did that. So it just auto shipped for me.
I probably should have done that.
Yeah, and then obviously now IDW has been doing their online exclusive covers. Um, which this could also factor into it too. The last 2 months, IDW has been moving their supplies warehouse. I got the email and everything about it because I had pre-ordered. Well, I didn't pre-order. I ordered late the issue 2 and 3 IDW online variants that only IDW sells,
Mm-hmm.
and it took like a month and a half for them to ship because they were moving their supply. So I just got them this week. So they do have currently running right now for this San Diego Comic-Con weekend. They have a sale going on. We tweeted it out on the page yesterday. They only had issue 1 of Godzilla vs. Power Rangers for the variants, and they had the trade paperback for the Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters
I think that was it.
series.
I was thinking about picking that up.
I had no clue that they did a full omnibus of it.
Yeah.
So I have the volumes, but that trade paperback looks really cool with the black and white cover.
Yeah,
and that was
really
only
nice.
like $20 too. So
Yeah.
it's not bad for a complete series. So
Yeah, and IDW is putting out some not this present Comic Con, but previous Comic Con exclusives.
yes,
So if you missed anything, they might be there.
yeah, that omnibus is a 2019 con exclusive. So
Yeah,
that's like probably going to pretty hard to find exclusive because I had no clue there was even an omnibus until now. So they could have only been released at that con as an omnibus, which kind of drew my attention.
yeah.
And I think that covers all the IDW releases. I'm excited for Power Rangers, Godzilla vs. Power Rangers 4.
Yeah.
That it should be here any day for me. So I'm hoping tomorrow maybe.
That would be nice.
I'm going back to work next week, so I'll have some reading. I have a lot of reading material actually because I just got last week Stomped issue 3 in the mail along with issues 1 and 2. That's a Kickstarter done by Ross Radke, I believe is the pronunciation. And the final issue campaign should be coming on Kickstarter sometime in October, I believe. So that right now you could pick up the first 2 issues for Stomped on his website. His name's Ross Radke. We'll put that in the notes later on.
It's all going to be down below.
You'll see it down below.
Yeah. Also, if you follow us on Twitter, it's always
we're tweeting. We're
always talking about those books.
I'm constantly tweeting, and we're constantly retweeting all the indie comics right now. We have Stomped, so I got to read that. I haven't read those yet. Territory 3, which we had talked about previously, that was successfully funded. They hit the $4,000 milestone, so we're getting what are we getting with it now? We're getting prints. We're getting a print with it, and some extra goodies. I'm excited for that one. That's supposed to be a big issue, Territory number 3. And then we got number 4 and 5 to look forward to. I think it's going to be a 5-issue series. Stomped is a 4.
Yeah.
And then now, it's been a while, but
Kaijus and Cowboys.
Kaijus and Cowboys. I haven't read it since September was issue 0, they called it. Frankie B. Washington is the artist on it. If you follow us on Twitter, we're constantly retweeting him.
Great guy.
Great guy, super friendly. He loves doing his sketch cards, but he's been doing comic art. And this looks awesome. Issue 0 was awesome, but and the writer is Matthew Blair. It's about a robot called the Hunter, and basically what he does is they're trying to inhabit a planet, an alien planet, and his job is to hunt down all the kaiju on the planet. So this is super, in my opinion, is super Redman-ish. It's from what I've seen in issue 0, there's nothing verbal coming out of the robot, so he's just there killing monsters. Great art, and I can't wait to see where the story goes. I mean, I've been waiting for the follow-up since September, but they're doing this is not a Kickstarter. It's on a new platform called Zoop, Zoop, and it's strictly for comics.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's like a Kickstarter for just indie comics. So if you're a big comic guy, check out Zoop. They have I believe that's how it's pronounced, Zoop.
I would imagine.
Yeah, so it's strictly comics. So that's gonna be a cool website to keep your eye on, because maybe we'll start seeing other kaiju comics show up on there. The first issue 0 was done on Kickstarter. Now this will be here, but yeah, they're giving out a lot of goodies. It looks like the first milestone. Each milestone is gonna unlock a card. So if they hit the 4,000 milestone, they'll release a set of 4 cards that you could do as an add-on. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Since that RRP, I think Richard Park Cards or whatever, did the Ultraman Series 1 set, I kind of got a little pulled back into trading cards. So I'm kind of excited for the cards. Yeah, so we got those 3 indie series: Stomped, Territory, Kaijus, and Cowboys. We've got a lot going on for indie kaiju comics right now.
Yeah, and one more. Speaking of delays,
oh boy,
Spectreman Heroes issue number 2 coming out in March.
it's coming out now.
Yeah, coming out now. You shouldn't laugh, but
I find it so funny too that I haven't got the issue yet. I know it's shipped, but I find it so funny that even issue 1 that I received in
it's really bold to put a time. Like, there's just so many delays with comic books. It's just because a lot of the printing houses are closed. A lot of time art's late, or something goes wrong with the story or the creator. They just need a little bit more time. But to put a timeline for 5 comics on issue 1 is a very bold statement.
Right off the bat, the first comics time on the back of the issue was wrong, which I covered in the video. But you know what? It's from Antarctic Press. They're a small little company started, and you know what? You got to give them credit that they're even giving us this stuff.
Yeah, it's super obscure.
And you know what? It's out of their hands too. The last week they sent out a message on their Facebook that they didn't plan on it, but they had, I believe, 10 comics just drop last week, and they're like, we don't like to do our releases like that. We like to do a few at a time.
Yeah.
But they're like, we just found out that they just shipped. I guess their
printers probably just
their printers just
backed
were
up.
Like, boom, here they go to the store. They're hitting the streets.
Yeah.
So they didn't really have much control of that, and it's probably why there's been so much delay.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm glad. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, they're a small company, and they're, for them to not have a comic book run be successful could be very damaging to them.
Yeah.
So, and they're taking a huge risk by doing a very obscure series.
It's super obscure.
It's like probably for like, I wouldn't be surprised if this comic book was printed in the hundreds. If it's printed in the hundreds of issues.
Yeah.
It's probably a super limited run, because I can't see them making money off of 1,000 print run of this comic book.
Most of the websites have them sold out, so you're gonna have to hit eBay most of the time to pick them up. So if you don't have them pre-ordered already, or if you're not on a wait list for them, you're gonna be having to hit eBay. I had to hit eBay for the first issue, and I paid $15 for that issue, which is definitely steep for a single issue of a comic. But you know what? If you want it, you gotta pay for it sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm paying. I mean, for the big issue of Power Rangers, the 5-issue Godzilla vs Power Rangers, the 5-issue big art one. I'm paying $15 a copy for that, and I don't even read that one.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, I don't take them out.
I usually
Only
read whichever one's my favorite cover.
yes, yeah, well, yeah, I do that, or I read whichever one I get first. Sometimes I don't get all the covers at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
The IDW online exclusives,
They show up like a couple weeks after.
yeah, they show up later, and the other thing is they don't come in a sleeve. I don't have any sleeves on me. I could buy them, but
Yeah, I had
so
a couple when I
I'm
bought
just
from
leaving
Graham
them
Cracker.
sealed in the bag. So they're like in a plastic bag that they come shipped in unopened, but they look nice.
Yeah, you know what pissed me off about my last one that I got from IDW?
Oh, it's the back, right?
Yes, it was with yours too.
Yep, I got that.
You can't even see it. You have to take it
That's
out.
issue 3. Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Why
take
would they do that?
And that one, they decided to put a board in, so they covered up the cover.
I
I'm like,
did not
you
get
never
it.
put a board in, and now you put it out, and you put the board in front of the cover.
I don't know what they were thinking.
Now I might end up buying sleeves just because they did that.
Graham Cracker sells them for 50 cents. So next time you put an order in, just add 5. I've actually had extra ones thrown in sometimes.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's it with comic news. That was
That's it.
a bunch,
We got a lot of comics.
bunch of comic news.
Yeah, so we're gonna be having them flowing in, so it's gonna be good.
And I think we're just gonna probably just blow through all this toy news.
Yeah, there's so many because Comic Con.
Yeah, we're in the middle of
San
Comic-Con,
Diego
so.
Comic Con's going on this week, so it's a big time of year for all sorts of releases. Who knows? Maybe we'll see some other release news. Still no word on Shin Ultraman, although a subtitled trailer actually dropped earlier today or yesterday.
Yeah, and apparently they're adding more viewings to that Fantasia Film Festival in New York City.
Yeah,
So,
it was awesome.
I mean, we're not gonna be able to make it, but
Yeah, it's so close to us. I mean, for us, it's a 50-minute train ride, but city's crazy, and I don't have the time to get there right now.
No, it was really weird. We put out our Shin Ultraman video talking about this movie coming to the theater about a couple weeks ago, and a lot of people were commenting on it yesterday and today. They're like, "Well, I'd rather get the sub than the dub," and I'm like, of course we're getting a sub. I just want the dub for new fans. I don't understand these gatekeeping people sometimes.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the dubs are awkward. Yeah, that's kind of the point sometimes. But yeah, toy news. We have a Hedora Anatomy poster coming out by Mike Stuffin for $50.
Yeah, it's not really 20 years.
Yeah.
These are San Diego Comic-Con exclusives from Mondo, so you can take them off.
Oh, okay. So we got that poster.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you go.
So these things, these that we're reading off are available online. You can order them. They're not exclusive only to San Diego Comic-Con, but they're San Diego Comic-Con releases.
Yeah. They've been doing this for, I think, since the pandemic happened.
Yeah,
some places have been putting their exclusives on their website as well. I know Loungefly is really big with that. So if you go on Box Lunch or on Loungefly's website, you can get a lot of which is also a lot of Funko merch.
Yeah.
You can get their stuff. It's available. It's not like it's super available, but if you wanted to get it, you can probably get it without paying scalper prices.
Even Walmart's been doing some weird sales lately. They get exclusives. I got a notification from the app before saying Collector Con is on right now from Walmart, but I didn't skim through it. Usually Walmart has some Power Ranger stuff.
Yeah.
But you take it away. Take it away on the Mondo stuff, man.
Yeah. So we got Jet Jaguar, Biollante, stuffed Cherry Blossom figures. Oh, wow, that sounds really cool.
Soft cherry blossom.
Soft cherry blossom.
So they're like pinkish figures, neon glow. They've already released these figures before, but now it's like a variant for the Comic-Con.
Yeah, we got a Ghidorah poster.
The poster looks so badass. I believe that poster is dropping tomorrow or Saturday. It's a really badass looking poster. You got to see the art for this thing.
Yeah, and then the last one is a Godzilla vs. Biollante 2 variant posters.
Those Godzilla vs. Biollante variant posters, those are con exclusives. The Biollante posters.
I'd imagine a poster.
There's also a little Godzilla, baby Godzilla from Space Godzilla. That's exclusive to the con. And then there's variants on those previous two posters that we talked about, the Hedorah Anatomy and the Ghidorah poster. Those variants are pretty cool looking. And on top of that, which you would probably be into, is the big exclusive for the Comic-Con there in San Diego is the Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 vinyl, 2-disc.
Ooh.
The art looks awesome on it.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that one.
You can't order it online though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Which is
most of the stuff you can order online.
Surprising, because I just got my Mothra vinyl. I haven't even unboxed it yet.
Oh.
Yeah. So that one, no, was it Mothra? No, it's Kong Escapes.
Oh.
Yeah. So that one I'm looking forward to unboxing because it looks awesome. It's a nice green vinyl.
That's
and
cool.
I think I also have War of Gargantua's order as well. So can't wait for those ones to come in. Mondo just comes out with some really out-of-the-box collectibles.
Yeah.
So it's not just like they do really nice figures and statues, but if you're not into that, they have this weird obscure stuff. Like if you want vinyl, they got vinyl. If you want tiki cups, they got tiki cups. Like whatever you're kind of into, they kind of probably have a version of that. And I wish they did pins, better pins, but I know they do have Godzilla pins.
Yeah, who does the pins? Somebody does do the pins.
Yeah, but they're
yeah.
I wish there's more variety.
Yeah, but there's also a Godzilla vs. Takaro poster. It's done by an artist named Attack Peter. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it before. They released a Godzilla statue Mondo. I believe it was last year. It was a black statue. It's like an old Japanese style art look. So that's what this Takaro. It's an original kaiju designed by Attack Peter. He's got like a whole series on it of art on his website, Attack Peter. But Mondo's putting out his stuff too, and that poster is exclusively at the Comic-Con, at San Diego Comic-Con, Godzilla vs. Takaro.
Awesome.
And Super 7's also releasing the Tahoe reaction figures, the little guys that they just released last month. Those figures look all right. I think the cards look great. To me, the selling point of those Super 7 reaction figures for the Godzilla, the Rodan, the Mothra, the Mechagodzilla is the cards, the cardboard that they come in. I kind of would like to hang him up somewhere, but I'm running out of room, so I'm out on those. But for Comic-Con, they did release a glowing version of the Mechagodzilla, a glowing version of Jet Jaguar, and a glowing version of Godzilla 54. $20 a piece. The cards look cool on those too. The card art looks awesome on them. But I actually haven't seen one myself, but from the pictures I've seen, the detail doesn't look too crazy on them. But one of the big announcements, which I'm not sure if the date's right on it though, but it's saying July of 2023 it ships, is they're coming out with the Shogun Godzilla. This guy right above my finger here.
Mm-hmm.
With the launching fist and the fire breath.
Yeah, so it looks like it's a smaller version of the original figure that this is based off of.
It's still smaller. It's an 8-inch though, so it's a nice.
It's a big figure, but
it's 8 inches tall, 6.7 inches long. So it's bigger. They're running for $55 and $65,
which is a very reasonable price.
Yes,
the full size figures are very expensive.
Yeah, and it looks like it comes in a nice box. So yeah, you can check those out. I mean, I know the Shogun Godzilla is always considered a grail item.
Yeah,
but it's cool that we're getting the reaction versions of them. Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, if you just want a little one, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Some other news. It's not on here. There is more Power Rangers based.
Yes, I was going to mention that before.
The other disrespect that Hasbro has for Power Rangers is pretty apparent. In fact, the fact that it's only on Netflix, and they apparently didn't have any toys at the booth itself at Comic-Con, But they did announce that we're going to be getting a metallic White Ranger Tommy for the Lightning figure, and they finally announced their first like collector's level Zord, and we're going to be getting the Dragon Zord.
Well, it's the second one.
It is the second one?
They released the Megazord. I forgot
they did.
I forgot what they called that line. It's part of the Lightning collection, but they're called... The name's escaping me right now. Because they're like premium Zords, and they're supposed to be really nice. So
the last premium line that I knew of was Soul Chozoken, and that was under Bandai.
I can't. Let me see if
I understand that. Like, yeah, who needs like the 5th collector's Zord? But like, you own the property, and they do almost nothing with it. And the fact they haven't even announced anything, people kind of thought that Hasbro buying this was going to be such a great idea because of what they've done with Transformers, and they thought that Power Rangers was going to get the Transformers treatment, but it really doesn't seem like they're doing that.
So I just pulled it up. They're calling them the Ascension Project for the Zords. Okay. So they had already done the Megazord. Now they got the Dragon Zord, and they are going to be able to combine.
As you'd hope.
As you'd hope, yes.
Yeah. But I just wish that they would kind of, I know Power Rangers fans, especially like the older ones, get really whiny and stuff, but it is really true that they've kind of bought it and done nothing within the 3 years that they've owned that franchise. It's been 3 years. I'd say it's almost been 4 years. Because they bought it just when Beast Morphers first started airing. I
believe I just saw the other day, I don't know off the top of my head, but season 2 of Dino Fury is going to be hitting Netflix soon.
Well, it's part 2 of season 2.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, and this staggered release schedule that they do, I honestly just don't understand it. This is a show that's been filmed for 2 years already. I don't understand why they film these seasons in about 2 to 3 months, and they let them sit for like 2 years before they air them. I don't understand. Wow. I don't understand it. And yeah. It's a super... I know this was filmed in 2020. Wow. It's been 2 years since it's been filmed. Because it was during the pandemic. They were in New Zealand because they had like almost 0 numbers. And they always film in New Zealand anyway. Because that's where they have all the quarries. This is really weird. I thought it was going to be a franchise that they really put some money into. Like I was expecting cartoons. And apparently it's in the works. But it's really slow to start.
Yeah, I mean, there's supposed to be movies and stuff too, I heard.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Boom Studios for keeping the franchise and the fans happy.
Yeah, they're the ones doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean, if we just got an animated version of that, everybody's very happy.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. I mean, it would be next level in animated.
It would. Series. It would. I think that's going to be the last tangent, probably. I'm not going to make any promises.
Yeah, but you know what? These Ascension Zords probably do look like one of the better things that Hasbro has put out.
They do look good.
They look very nice. So, they're a bit pricey. We're talking. I think it's like $153 is the price for the Dragon Zord.
It's comparable to Soul Chozoken.
Yeah. So.
We'll just kind of have to deal with it. I mean, as long as it's a premium product, it's fine with me.
Yeah. Yeah, premium products. That's the catch right there.
Yeah. You have the Zords for kids, but sometimes the big kids need something to deal with too. Yeah.
I've been debating getting the Vinimates set. I believe it's coming out it might have come out now.
I think it might be out.
It's $20. You get the Megazord and the Dragon Zord. Yeah. I have the Vinimates Godzilla figures, and they're solid. So
yeah. All right. So on to the main event, and that is going to be Space Amiibo. How do you pronounce it?
Yog Monster from Space.
Yog Monster from Space.
So many different names. Well, not so many, but those are the two ones. Space Amoeba, Yog Monster from Space. The two most known names for this movie.
Yeah, and then also Gazora, Gaimez, and Kamibis battle giant monsters of the South Seas. I think that is the literal translation. Pretty cool concept for a movie. I don't know if it completely landed. But given the restraints that they had, I can completely understand.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just jump into it. Do you want to start?
You go into it. You go into it.
All right. So, basic plot of it is we start with this awesome fire sequence of these three monsters looking like they're about to duke it out. And we get this cool intro for each one. And then it cuts to a spaceship leaving Earth. And they're saying that this is going to be like an exploratory ship. It's going to be returning in like 7 years. And they're just going to gather information, come back. It's completely robotic, so there's no people on board. We see this blue thing kind of just go inside and turn it straight around and go back to Earth. Then we start with our protagonist, Taro, and funnily enough, it is the same actor that played the main character in Son of Godzilla, the last movie that we covered.
And he even dresses the same.
And in that movie, he was a reporter, and in this movie, he's a photojournalist.
Literally could have been the same character. They should have made him the same character, honestly.
They really should have, because they kind of played very similarly, and it looked like this was like a man that's seen some things. He kind of had like kind of about as shaved as I am right now.
He was a little more grizzled looking.
A little more grizzled. And the names of the islands were very similar between the two movies. So I don't know why they didn't. They should have just done it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, cool. That's the island with monsters on it. Like, yeah, he called the other island Monster Island in the last movie.
Yeah. It is kind of so yeah. He's a reporter. He gets approached by a hotel group to go to this island to take pictures to sell the natural ambiance of the island. The whole plan is they're going to build this luxury hotel on this untouched island. There's 80 natives that still live there in a village. They say they want them to catch. And
they're very friendly. It's not like Khan.
They're very friendly. They claim. And they want him to go there, but he's like, I don't really do that. He's well, I forgot this part. While he's flying back to Tokyo from his previous job, he sees the Helio-7 ship, the shuttle, go past the airplane. He's the only passenger on the airplane that sees it, and he's like, I want to go there. And his boss is like, you're out of your mind. We would have been told if that space shuttle came back. So anyway, he gets approached. He's like, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go do this PR thing. He's like, that's not my style. I want to go pursue this Helios thing. But then one of his old friends, I forgot, the doctor, comes in and is like, oh, I'm going there. And he's like, oh, if you're going there, we used to work on the same TV show together. The doctor's telling him that he believes that there's giant monsters on the island. But what's kind of odd is if it wasn't for the whole Helio-7 Space Amoeba alien coming down, there wouldn't have been giant monsters on this island. So that doctor was wrong.
So the one thing that I thought, which wasn't very clear in this movie,
but then this is a dub. I watched the dub, so the translation could be wrong.
So I watched the sub, and the one thing that stood out to me, because I was very confused at that point too, is because the natives, at least in the subbed version, worship these monsters as gods, but more like evil deities that are on the island and torturing them.
Yeah, but they never actually saw them before until now.
It's really weird. And then the way I took it was that they lived near the island and the space amoebas are taking over them.
Well,
they don't really. That's the way they make it sound, but
no,
it's not a very clear plot. I gotta say one thing with this movie is the plot. There's a lot of contradictions and a lot of things don't make sense.
So the way I always assumed, I've seen this movie a couple times, the space amoeba turns just regular animals into these monsters. That's why there's a point one of the monsters gets killed and literally blown into pieces, and then you see the same monster again later on at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's because they just took over the body of another one. If there's a point early on in the movie where they see a turtle, that is assumed to be that turtle is supposed to be Comobius.
Yeah.
Comobus.
Camebus, whatever you want to pronounce it as. Yeah, it's. I thought that.
That was always my interpretation of it.
Yeah, and I understood that this had to be a low budget movie because kaiju movies weren't making money anymore. It's 1970. This movie, from its original script to what it is now, is not the same movie anymore. Super
the original
scaled back.
script sounded awesome.
They wouldn't even let Ishiro Honda film on the island that he wanted to film on. Like, that's how much scaled back the budget was. I think he wanted to film it in the Philippines. No, he wanted to film it in Guam.
Yes.
And they made him film it near Japan, some other island. It's super weird that, like...
I think it was pretty much they wanted, because I believed they shot parts of Son of Godzilla in Guam also.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's just one of those things with this movie. I guess we're just going on to a little aside here that, like, even the whole hotel plot line really doesn't make any sense. It gets to the point though, like when they're going to the island, they show this little advertisement board for what the hotel is going to look like. Like, there's going to be a boat driving by, and they're going to see a like 2 foot by 3 foot wooden sign staked into a rock. It doesn't make any sense. Who's that sign for?
It really was so weird because they had like all the hotel people had was like these two guys on the island. That's it.
Yeah, you didn't see any construction crew, no architects, nothing.
They didn't show a construction crew. They didn't show the hotel being worked on. They were just two guys, as far as we know, that they show in the movie that were there on the island, and one of those guys gets killed.
Yeah.
Right off the bat by Gezra.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one kind of gets like hunted down by Gezra later on.
Yeah, he goes crazy, and then Gezra just goes and hunts him down.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know what the logic was behind that Gezra was following him.
It was a little weird though, but it almost did seem like the way it played out that Gezra was following him.
Like,
because he came ashore and was like, boom, that hut right there where that dude is.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole village, and even where his hut was, there was other little buildings, but he was like, that's the one.
Yeah, and the one thing that, again, there's a lot of plot holes in this movie that just really interfere with the storyline is, if you want to go with the theory that the reason why Gezra hunted him down was because he was the only other person that witnessed the attack, even though that's not even true, and it would have been better if he just would have been crazy and tried to leave the island. No one would have believed him. But now a bunch of people saw a giant cuttlefish on land kill a man.
But only the one dude saw the cuttlefish. That guy, I believe his name is Rico?
Yeah, Rico.
Yeah. And he goes crazy.
Yeah, he goes crazy.
People go crazy. They get like...
They don't explain why he went crazy. I don't know if it was just shock.
Yeah.
But they don't, at least in the dub, the sub, they really don't explain what happened to him until he kind of snaps out of it. Something to do with light. But they don't explain what the light did.
The light from Gezra's eyes are what freaked him out. Just like it did the other guy. That's why the guy freaked out in the cave when they see Gezra's light under the water.
But then that never got brought up again.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen to anybody else. A lot of things in this movie do not make sense.
Well, yeah.
So one thing when Gezra is destroying this shack is some bats come by, and it kind of gets afraid of him. It runs away, and that's how Rico survives this attack, because that was going to be the next witness that was going to get killed. They don't know what happens, but they're like, "Oh, it looks like there was a giant hurricane or something." They do a little bit more investigation, and they find the Helios 7 shuttle
underwater.
Yeah, underwater. Oh yeah, it's underwater. Landed in the ocean. And
then Gezra appears underwater as well and attacks two main characters, the doctor and what was the reporter's name?
Taro.
Taro, yes. Attack the doctor and Taro, and at that point the two of them look doomed. But then a squad of dolphins come swimming by, and Gezra kind of was like, "Nah, I'm done with this." Lets them go, and then they kind of escape to land. But then shortly after, Gezra comes ashore as well.
Yeah, I guess trying again to take out these witnesses.
It's what it seems like, right?
But they never state that in the movie.
But we also need to remember that all these monsters are being controlled by aliens, so I'm guessing the aliens don't want witnesses. It's part of why they're hunting it down.
Yeah. So one plot line that we kind of very lightly skimmed over is that there is a character called Obata.
Yes. Yeah,
He
I was just going to bring him up.
pretends to be a what is it, geologist? He pretends to be, and is like, "Oh, I'm going to the island too. If you guys could take me with you, sure." And then the second they're like, "You're acting a little weird," he's like, "I'm a corporate espionage guy," and he's just like leaves.
They literally call him out, and he's like, "Yeah, you're right. Here's the hotel plans." He pulls them out of his coat pocket, throws them on the floor. He's like, "You got me," and just is like, "Peace."
Yeah, he just leaves.
But he's on an island. Like, he's got no way to leave, though. He just starts wandering the island.
Yeah. That's just important just to set up later on in the movie. But Gezora comes, starts attacking the village. Kind of a cool fight. The destruction of the village is pretty cool, and I think that the Gezora suit's probably the best, movement-wise, the best suit out of the entire movie.
In my opinion, the Gezra scenes are the highlight of the whole movie. In my opinion.
And that is the majority of the movie. I think he's in like the first hour, I want to say, ish of the movie.
Yeah.
And then the other two are like the last half hour of the movie.
Yeah.
So he really is the highlight. But we get this awesome kind of fight scene. He's destroying the city. He's smacking the Elder. Sending him flying. I thought he killed him for a second, but
I thought he did too. I thought for sure that dude was dead.
Yeah, but then he just popped up later.
He's like, "I'm good, guys."
Because he was like, and then just did like the dying thing that you do in movies. But then he was in like 2 scenes later.
He's really good at playing dead.
Yeah, so they finally realized like, hey, this giant cuttlefish doesn't do good with fire. It's like. Another thing, it's funny, he accidentally put his tentacle over fire and like moved it away. So as they're fleeing the village and they're getting chased down by Gezora, he's like, I noticed that the cuttlefish got hurt when he got touched by the fire. And it's just like anything else wouldn't get hurt by fire. I mean, this isn't like Godzilla. It's not like a 50-story monster. It's maybe like 30 feet in height. Pretty small compared to your traditional kaiju monster. About the size of a house, let's just say. Maybe a little bit taller.
I would say 2 houses.
2 houses? 2 houses. I'll give you 2 houses. I'll give you 2 houses. Like, so not super giant, but pretty big.
2.5 on offer.
So the villagers are fleeing this village, and they're like, if we're going to light it on fire, we needed gasoline. We don't have any gasoline on this island. And out of all the resources that the villagers could have taken, like food, fresh water, maybe some tools, they all just decided that they're going to carry gas cans as they're fleeing the village. So all the villagers run up to the main characters, and they're like, oh, we brought over like 40 cans of gasoline.
So, to some little pre-context too that we missed out, this island was a military station during the World War, so there's still a bunker on the island filled with weapons, ammo, gasoline, which is where they're getting all of it. So it was a military base. It was abandoned, but all the weapons and stuff are still in there. So that's why they have all this gasoline.
But like, if you're fleeing a village, why is everybody grabbing 2 cans of gasoline? It doesn't make any sense. You're fleeing a monster. So,
listen, man, gas prices are high.
They are. Those cans are probably worth like $80 each right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're the little tribal village. That each gas can buy them a hut.
Yeah. So they decide what they're going to do is there's like a bit of like I guess you want to call it like a dirt patch, like a marsh or something. And they douse it in gasoline and just throw all the gas cans there. They lure Gezora close and light it on fire. And that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the coolest things. And it was filmed really well.
Yeah, the pyro scenes were great.
My only gripe with it that I thought would have been cooler is if they would have taken the guy out of the suit, because you don't see Gezora again in this movie, unfortunately.
You know,
which doesn't even make any sense.
Yes, because clearly they could bring back the monsters or turn another
get another cuttlefish.
Yeah,
but if you're not going to use the suit again, I understand that it's Toho, it's Tsuburaya, they reuse these things. Well, it's not Tsuburaya, it's Ikefube for this one, because unfortunately Tsuburaya passed 2 days into filming. But
they wanted to actually dedicate the film to him, but he didn't have enough involvement with it that Toho shot it down, which a lot of the crew were pretty salty and annoyed about.
Yeah, but he did get a credit in the movie, but like they wouldn't like do anything else besides that.
Yeah, which I thought is really weird. Like the dude did so much. I mean,
yeah. So I actually mispronounced. It's not Ikefube. I don't know. That's the guy who did the music.
Yeah.
Where is it's Irakawa. That's it. But anyway, I would have thought it would have been cool if they would have taken the guy out of the suit and just light the suit on fire and have wires attached to the arms. I thought that would look so much cooler, but they probably didn't want to trash the suit.
Yeah.
My one gripe with this suit is on the forehead. You can see it in here. Is you can tell like the foam was just folding in. They didn't have like really any support on the inside, or it didn't work. Any support that they did have, so you can tell that like the foam is just folding forward and there's a giant crease in it. But the movement was really good. I mean, for an octopus, they've always had issues with octopuses, and that's one of the things that Toho's always been known for. Is like it's hard to do it, and they do it well. And I thought that this even came out very well, even though it's not an octopus, it's a cuttlefish, but still. Yeah. No, so why don't you continue after Gezora gets burned?
So after Gezora gets burned, the next monster up is Gamnes. It's the giant crab.
So the rock crab.
The rock crab. He gets blown up, basically. Same way, almost. He chases Taro up the cliff. Taro sort of fakes him out, makes him fall off the cliff, and there happens to be just barrels of gasoline just sitting there at the bottom of the cliff.
Yeah, there was zero setup for this scene. Like he fell off. He saw them at the bottom of the cliff, tricked him to jump off of it, and then shot the gasoline and blew him up.
Yeah, I was like, what? I was like, how did those gas cans get there? And how did they conveniently land where the monster was going? So he blows up Gamnes. Pieces go flying all over the island. And Obato, just wandering the island, comes across one of Gammes' charred legs.
One thing I want to state about this Obato thing, we saw one of the best yeets in all of movie history. As Gammes was making his first appearance, he just kind of yeeted Obato off of his boat. But again, he survived too.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he washed up on the shore. Yeah,
which pretty hilarious. But yes, back to Obato just having to be right where the giant explosion was.
Yeah, he just happens to be there right where one of the crab legs lands, and he's just kind of like looking at it. And I guess the blue, sparkly Space Amoeba alien comes out from that part of Gamnes and takes over Obata, and that's where we kind of finally, like, we're like an hour into the movie now. We finally get the whole background on what this alien is doing, and their plan is to take over all the humans, all the monsters, and use the animals, turn them into monsters to conquer Earth and make it their own planet.
Yeah.
So now Obata is the first man alien.
Yes.
They kind of almost congratulate him.
Yes.
And at the moment he has no control of his body, and all the village has retreated into the cave that's sort of adjacent to where the bunker was with all the
Yeah.
military. So they're in a cave. There's no military weapons in there, but the bunker is kind of like right there, so they have access to it.
Yeah.
Um,
And then at this point, Taro comes over to Rico and puts a flashlight in his eyes. And no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen yet. Rico's been having this female, like, I guess it was his girlfriend, taking care of him the entire time.
they call her.
I forgot what her
In
name
the
was.
dub, they call her his lover.
Yeah, no, he says it in the subtitles too. But they're like, oh, they must be lovers. But she just goes, I'm going to marry Rico. And there's like zero consent or anything. They just go to the village. They're back at the village now.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, we're good.
Yeah, they're back at the village. Everything's fine. They blew up the giant crab. Everything's fine. The village elder that we thought got destroyed is there and officiates the marriage. But apparently a giant camera flash sets Rico off, so he just goes bolting.
Yeah.
They track him down, they put the light in his eyes, and he comes back. And one thing I gotta say about that scene is the music for the wedding was really good. So, Ikafube, thumbs up on that one.
Music's always good.
Yeah, it's always good. But that one I was like, oh, this kind of slaps. But they shine the light in his eyes, and then he's like, the last thing I remember was that giant monster, and then the bats came, and it left. And at that point, they kind of put two and two together. They're like, the bats are driving it away, the dolphins drove it away.
Because the monsters the animals give off sound that are a certain frequency that humans can't hear, but
yeah.
maybe the aliens can.
Yeah, so they're like these ultrasonic sounds are interfering with the aliens. They can't survive off of them. So we're going to go searching out bats. So they go to all these different caves, and all these bats are burned alive. So like, what's going on? Enter Camebus. Chases them around for like a little bit, and they're like, oh, it's a giant turtle. We can't set it on fire or blow it up.
It's got a hard shell.
It's got a hard shell. So they finally make their way into a cave, and there's bats. They finally found a cave with bats in it. And they're like, oh, good, we're saved. But they don't really know how to use the bats, besides just, we can stay in this cave and it's going to be safe. So enter Obata. And I don't know how this played out in the dub, but it was really funny because he kind of just like, you can tell it's kind of like Men in Black when the guy was wearing like the human skin suit.
Yeah.
Where it's like he can tell he doesn't know how to act like a human.
Yeah.
So he's like moving a little weird. And then he's just like, I'm going to go inside. And he goes inside the cave.
And the doctor's like, you survived.
Yeah.
You're here. And then he just lays down and goes to sleep.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to take a nap.
Like, don't talk to me. That's literally.
I honestly think that.
I laughed at that.
I think the actor who played Obata probably did like the most work.
He did, I think.
He did the most character work.
Yeah, definitely.
He was given what he had, and he just made it work.
Yeah.
So from there, they're kind of just like chilling in the cave for a little bit, and it gets to the point where this is where I'm going to bring up the issue with the plan again, because there's a lot of plot holes with it. Bada gets everybody outside of the cave, finally, fills it with gasoline, and sets it on fire, and he boards up the doors so the bats can't get out. At this point, they realize that something's weird, so they're trying to stop him, and he's
super strong.
Yeah,
now.
he's super strong, and like you can tell he's trying to a little bit of a struggle to light the matches. So something's happening there, right? It's not just the aliens completely in control, but he does successfully light this fire, and the aliens are like, he has the strength of 10 men. And then they cut to all the villagers, and there's like 20 men. So I was like, it's just simple math. They could take this guy. But obviously they don't want to do anything. They're super intimidated, so they let him he lights the thing on fire, and the aliens explain the plan to everybody else now, Taro and everybody else, and they're saying, they want to conquer the world, and they don't have any witnesses here, so they're going to get rid of everybody on the island, and to do that, they have to get rid of the bats. But at this point, we don't see it yet, but canonically, there's another Gamnes and another Kamebis on the island. Well, there's the original Kamebis and another Gamnes on the island, heading towards the villagers. So if there's enough of these amoebas to take over human and 2 giant monsters, why isn't there enough to take over all the other humans on the island?
It's really weird. And like
more than one human.
And like when they show it like in the ship, this amoeba thing, it's just like looks like the shape of like just like a
blob.
And it's just like it's like a small body though. It's almost like what people might describe a single ghost or something like that. It doesn't look like it's a lot, but somehow it manages to spread out everywhere. It's an amoeba, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like one of those things that like maybe a little more exposition would have explained it or something. And I'm sure that there's maybe stuff that got left on the cutting room floor, and they weren't the greatest at preserving deleted scenes or anything back then, so we don't know. But it's just one of those things where it just seems like it was like a bit of a rush job. They had 4 years of prep from when the original draft was written to when they released this movie, and it was a pretty rushed production then that in and of itself. So I don't know exactly what happened within those 3 years of pre-production that the story got really whittled down to this. I understand that there was budget cuts, but it really just didn't make sense.
Well, from what I understand too, the whole time, even during filming, they were being pressured about the budget. Like they were under constant pressure about the budget, even while filming this.
Which is just typical Toho to not let the creators create, and they have to get. I mean, it's like any studio, I guess, but you have the guy who directed the first Godzilla movie, and you have a banger of a script. It might not be the next Godzilla, but it might be pretty big. This might be the movie that brings everybody back to kaiju films. From what I've heard of the original script, it sounded really good, and this is what we got. So it's one of those things that's like a little disappointing. I don't know if maybe it was a little too similar to Destroy All Monsters with the whole alien invasion, worldwide attack, monsters everywhere. But like, don't you think Marvel wants to put out another Avengers movie? You know what I mean? Like, why not do more of that? And it was with all original characters too, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I know another aside, but we're gonna get back to this. There's been a female character that's been in the movie, and she's had very minimal sway on the plot.
She's the one that's working with the hotel, actually.
Yeah.
She has like zero influence on the plot, honestly.
So
besides hiring Taro.
Yeah, so she steps up and she's like, "Hey, Obata, I know you're still in there. You're a human, and you're gonna let these aliens take over and destroy the entire world." She's like, I know that you're scum, but you're really gonna let that happen?
Yeah.
So he takes over his body again, takes the little wooden, not even wooden, it's like straw door off the cave, and lets all the bats out. The bats know what to do. They go for the monsters, and you can see the monsters get confused, and enters, unfortunately, I mean, I really wanted to like this movie, and I probably still would watch it again, but probably one of the worst kaiju fights I've seen.
Like I always, this was I don't know, after watching it again, I haven't watched it in a couple of years, I always remember really liking this movie. But yeah, that final battle between Gamnes and Mobius was just not fun to watch.
And it was a lot of shots of like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, the two suits like weren't very mobile.
No.
Which is part of the problem with this fight.
Yeah.
So you got a turtle fighting a crab.
And it's not like a Gamera. He's on all fours and can barely move. And it's got this extendable neck. But they do this. He does this one cool move where he like pokes at Gamnes and then like stands up on all hind legs and like kicks it back. That was the only cool thing in this entire movie.
That was like the highlight of.
But like, I understand that they're supposed to be confused, but like, just make them confused to the point where they're independent kaiju and they're fighting each other now. Yeah. They don't have any sway from the aliens.
Yes, basically what they say is that the bats have the frequency from the bats has returned the animals back to their primal states, is what the doctor says, which is why they begin fighting each other instead of attacking in unison.
But the problem is that like Kamebis trips like 5 times in the fight and flips itself over.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's not even because it got hit. It just like it didn't take the right step and fell over.
Yeah, it was a clumsy turtle.
And like, that's definitely, in my opinion, the coolest designed and looking kaiju of the movie. And to see it not really have a awesome role was a little weird to me, to be honest with you.
Guess was my favorite of the movie.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'd say Kamebis is.
Gezra's the best moving. I think that the movement was amazing, but as far as just like looking cool, in my opinion, Kenny's. But like Gezra's like the mascot of this movie.
Yeah.
So like I understand.
All really well designed too, but yeah.
I mean, Gamnes is cool too, but it's just like it's a crab, and we're not going to talk up a crab if we're going to be talking smack about Ebera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I like Ebera. But I know most people don't, and I think that this is. I don't think this is as good as a design as Ebera.
I think he's popular.
Yeah. So here comes like Schrodinger's volcano coming out of nowhere.
I know. All of a sudden, these two monsters, they're just fighting each other, but they're like fighting each other slowly up a erupting volcano the whole time. We're like, all of a sudden, this volcano's erupting, and these two monsters just happen to be pushing each other towards it.
Yeah. And they so Gamnes knocks Kamebis in, but because Kamebis has that retractable neck, extends up, grabs his claw with his mouth. Eventually, after some struggle, which I don't know why this needs to be like a 2-minute scene, they go into the volcano.
And the volcano just explodes.
Volcano explodes. And then they're like, where's Obata? And he just like eats himself to the volcano.
Yeah, he's just walking in there. Yeah, because he still has the alien itself.
Yeah, so he's the last remnants of those aliens.
So he jumps on in there.
Yeah, and then the doctor proclaims those aliens have been destroyed by that lava. Even though I know that they can survive in the vacuum of space, they have been destroyed by that lava. And that's the end of the movie.
It's really that abrupt.
I think it's like an 81 minute runtime. I thought it was 85 minutes. I don't know why I thought it was 85 minutes. But you know.
But what is interesting about this? So you were saying, why couldn't they take over another one? So years and years later, in Godzilla Tokyo SOS, the opening of the movie has a Gamnes. Kamobis. So those aliens must have took over one more turtle on that island.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be out there for years. I don't know why nothing else got taken over.
They got messed up by Godzilla.
so they say, he got killed by Godzilla. So they say that, I mean, maybe the alien left the body and the turtle stayed in that giant form.
Maybe.
I don't know. But why did it leave the body?
I mean, now we're just talking about cool references.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to think super deep into it, but like if we want to think about it, like, oh, there must have been another one.
Yeah. Well, they say it takes place in the Godzilla universe, and it's considered part of the Chikyuu saga continuity. So,
one thing that, again, we did mention about this fight is there was a second Gamnes, and they did not destroy the Gezera suit like I suggested. So why did we not get Gezera in the final fight, especially since the way that's titled, the Japanese title is Gezora, Ganes, and Kamibis battle giant monsters of the South Seas. Why did we not get a three-way fight? Especially since they teased a three-way fight in a volcanic island at the beginning of the movie.
And even the way the movie's advertised, Gezra's always front and center on the posters.
Yes, always.
Like,
It has the most screen time.
Yeah.
You know, it's again, it's probably budget. Probably they couldn't afford 3 suit actors. Is probably the real. But why not bring back Gezora then? Why Gamnes?
I honestly think that final fight would have been better if Gezora was substituted either of the monsters.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just simping for Kamibis. That's the only reason why I said why not Gamnes. But it's just one of those things. Like I wasn't quite, don't quite understand some of the creative choices that they made with the plot as to why certain things happened, and I think it definitely showed that there was budget constraints and studio interference in the final product.
Yeah, I think that's what the response is going to be when it comes down to why for a lot of things with this movie.
Yeah.
It's going to be we were getting pressured to constrain the budget.
Yeah, so we couldn't hire a third actor. Unfortunately, a lot of the actors that were in this movie, this was their final movie with Toho under their current contracts.
Yep, it was even Ishiro Honda's last movie under contract with Toho, but he did come back later on to do Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Yeah,
to finish.
5 years later.
Yeah, 5 years later.
So it's like one of those things where it's just like, I feel like they had a good thing going. I feel like there might have been other business choices that they could have done. And even today in modern Toho, there's things that they could be doing that just don't make sense why they're not doing it.
Yeah.
Very archaic in a lot of ways that they're doing things. I think a lot of their current projects are being held back by this individual license per character thing that they've always maintained. I don't understand why they won't just give somebody carte blanche to be like, you are licensing the entire Godzilla franchise. Do with it what you want. Make something cool. Make us a bunch of money.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's like, oh, you want Gigan? It's going to cost you. You want this? That's going to cost you. And they're just like, you know what? We're just going to make our own kaiju. No, we don't need it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I don't have a problem with the original kaiju, but like...
No, neither do I. But it's just like...
Sometimes you want to see these classics.
Would have been cool instead of the I don't even remember the name of the spider kaiju, if we would have got confirmation that it was Kamacuras. Kumonga.
Spiga.
Yeah, if we got Kamacuras and Kumonga
spider
on Skull Island.
On Skull Island. Oh yeah, with the spiky legs, it stabs him through the head. Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been kind of cool? Like even just a nod.
It was a different spider type of
spider. It was, but
it could have worked though.
It's the MonsterVerse version.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like one of those things where you're just like, why not just let them do that?
Yeah.
And just be like, oh man, that's really cool. Oh, that was in this movie. Oh, I can see it on here. Let me go get that movie. Like, it's just simple things. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Or just be like, oh, okay, so you're paying. Let's just say right now they're paying $100 million. Throwing out fake numbers. They're paying $100 million for the Godzilla, just the Godzilla license. Why not be like, okay, give us $250 and you can use what you want. And we get this percentage back. For each character that we use, we get a extra whatever percent on ticket prices. Or whatever. Whatever they want to work out. I don't understand why they don't do something like that.
I really don't.
All
we want to do is see more material.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting was... I can't think of his name right now, but Ice Cube's son, the one from King of the Monsters.
Yes.
King of the Monsters. He's apparently been trying to push a Godzilla anime series. He kind of made a comment once the Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell news broke, I guess. He's like, oh, they're doing a TV series on this live action, and I've been trying to push an anime for years now with a friend of mine for Godzilla. So that would be a cool project to see too, since we're talking about licensing things. But he's probably in the same boat. dealing with
Yeah.
that headache.
Yeah, it's just the licensing headaches just don't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that we get a Singular Point season 2 because I don't see any reason to not have a Singular Point season 2.
Yeah, no, I think they will because I think it's been really successful. As
Oh,
long as Netflix is on board.
Netflix.
Netflix.
Well, you know, Netflix, they take 4 years between everything. So, you know what? It's been about it. What is it? Has it been a year yet?
It's been 1 year.
Yeah, so we probably got 3 more to go before we see season 2.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, who does? And does that wrap it up?
I think so. I mean,
Any other?
I mean, you know, like I said, it was really, this watch around was, I don't know. I always looked at this movie as one of my favorite non-Godzilla movies. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but watching it this time around was very different. I don't know if it's because I've been watching so much lately, so many different movies, but watching Ultraman, the story was just, it just didn't do it for me. It really fell on my list. I love all the monster designs. I always liked Gezra. Gezra always piqued my interest because
Awesome.
he was in the Godzilla NES game as one of the bosses.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea. I think all three of them are really cool ideas.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, I think there's a lot of good things in this movie that just
This
got
is
left on
almost-
the cutting room floor,
Yeah,
or
this
just
is
didn't
like
even make it
one-
to the cutting room.
Yeah, this is like one of those movies where I'm like, I want to see them remake it, and
Yeah.
I think it would be a great remake movie. I think the story could work with the whole hotel thing, but there's gotta be gaps filled in, plot holes fixed.
Can you imagine if the hotel was already there?
Yes.
It'd be a much different movie.
Yes.
And no, that's very expensive.
Or like
though.
the construction was just about done. There was more crew, like
yeah,
there's
more crew.
two guys in a jeep, and a hut, and 2 huts.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I a lot of extras.
well, why did they need to send Taro there to take publicity photos for a hotel
That's not built.
that's not there?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? So
Yeah.
there's so many other things that could get fixed, but I would love to actually see a remake of this
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. So for anybody that is still watching and wants to watch this movie and see what we're talking about, it's a couple ways to watch. I think it's on HBO Max via the Criterion Collection. That's for the US. There is a new Blu-ray release from Japan. I do not believe it includes any English
There's no dubs.
subtitles or
No
dubs.
subs.
I don't. That's another thing I just don't understand. But that's Japan for you. They don't
It's a
want
Japanese release, so they don't want to. I don't know.
they don't want people buying their products
Yeah,
and paying like $60 to have it shipped to the US.
yeah.
There's companies like Bai, but and then there's other ways to watch the movie as well.
You can get the DVD, but it's just going to cost you.
Yes,
I mean, I got it off deep discount years ago for $10.
yes. And I
Um,
went a different route with my Blu-ray.
There's places.
Yeah, there's places. Not gonna say the places, but there's ways. But yeah,
You know what? If they won't sell it to us, you got to get it somehow. So.
gotta get it somehow. The second there's an official release, I will buy it.
Yep, 100%. That's how I am too.
Yeah,
If I can't get it legitly, I'll find a way to get it.
we'll find a way. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for sticking around. Please check out our other episodes. We've mentioned a bunch of other videos that we've made during this episode, and they'll all be linked, or there'll be a card someplace. And thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think of this movie down below, or any of that awesome Godzilla or Monarch news that we covered.
Later.